Today's episode is brought to you by Pentester Academy, the leader of online cybersecurity education. Join more than 10,000 professionals from over 120 countries to learn security online. I am Damien from Pentester Academy TV, and I want to welcome you to another episode of The Toolbox, where we showcase the latest and greatest open source tools. Add them to your collection today. Let's take a look at Ashok by Ankit.
Yeah. So thank you, Pentester Academy, first of all inviting me for a talk. Here I am going to discuss about the Ashok, the tool, which I created in mid-2020. It was basically a simple idea that how we can use OSINT with all the other features with the recon. So it was a simple idea, but now it became a very good tool. So I'm going to discuss about the Ashok. Let's start with the presentation. So before going to the brief discussion about Ashok, let's talk about myself, that who am I. So I'm an open source contributor and security enthusiastic. I was a former developer outreach at DeepSource, and now currently I'm working as a cyber threat analyst at CloudSec. I have written some of the tools, but some of the two major tools you can see, the one is Ashok, which we are going to discuss, and the second was PowerExploit. And in my spare time, I try to write some blogs related to tech stuff in InfoSec. Let's see what we have agenda in today's discussion. So we are going to discuss about the OSINT, how Recon can work with OSINT, then the Ashok project, then the Docker version, and then some reference and conclusion of this discussion. First of all, let's talk about what is OSINT. So in a simple term, we can understand that all the information that is publicly accessible for us, and we can use our ability to understand those information, and can use those information for our day-to-day task as a security researcher or a threat analyst or any aspects of security. So definition, you can see that it's the information collected from public sources such as those available on the internet, and most of the time you don't need also the internet. It is not restricted for the internet. The OSINT is available all over the globe, across the globe. So this is the bit of introduction about what is OSINT. It is in a simple way. The image, you can see that OSINT is everywhere, and it is also everywhere in the globe over the internet. Then what is the use OSINT for us as a security researcher, as a penetration tester? So as we know that in our day-to-day tasks, first of all what we do a recon about a target or whatever our target we have. So to do those recon things like gathering information, OSINT can help us to do the day-to-day information gathering for the recon phase. So we have vast amount of information available over the internet, and it is very much easy for us to use those OSINT collection tools to do our recon task, day-to-day task, to make our process so much easy, so that we can proceed for other further phases our security research day-to-day work. So this is why we can use for recon the OSINT aspect. You can see this image. So for example, we have our domain, a target. A domain can be a target, and we want to find out that which domain have been registered for that particular target. So we can use some OSINT frameworks or some OSINT tools to identify the core information about that target. So this is the meme you can understand by this meme. Then this is the collection of tools we use for our recon phase. Basically, this is the OSINT framework over the internet, and this framework can be used for both defensive and offensive approach. Most of the time, what I have seen and what we understood, that the intelligence team, the threat intelligence team, use most of the time this frameworks. But yeah, you can use it in both approach, as a defensive or attacking phase. In this framework, you can see that the first concept is username or email address. It's a very core information gathering things that you can use. But in a more vast way, we also have some like network analysis, which is basically about if you want to understand the sniffing. And there are some good tools over the open source that we can use for our recon thing, for our day-to-day penetration tasks. So this is the overall structure of how OSINT frameworks and tools use. You can use all those tools to do your day-to-day tasks. Now talking about this was that was the brief introduction about how OSINT and Recon can work together and how we can build something great things while using both two concepts. Now what I did, this is the topic we are going to discuss about Project Ashok. So as you can see that it is incredible fast reconnaissance army knife. So but basically it is a combination of that approach that we have discussed, the Recon plus OSINT. So what is basically an Ashok? So Ashok is an OSINT based Python tool for security enthusiasts, which is specially designed for recon tasks. So if you want to gather some core information about your target, so you can use this Python tool. In the image you can see there are several options like headers. You want to identify the HTTP headers, or you want to look up your DNS. Then we have some cool features like subdomains, identifying subdomains, then having the ports, identifying all the open ports in a target. There are a lot of options, but we will just discuss about some main features that I have added in the current version of Ashok, which is 1.1. So there are three main features that can be used for our security research day-to-day tasks. The first one is subdomain lookup. So subdomain lookup with the you can understand if you want to find out all the subdomains of your target domain. So you can use Ashok to look up all the subdomains of your target in a very simple and it is very fast, not very restricted to it will not take so much time. So it is very fast to identify those subdomains. Then second thing, we have CMS and technology detector. So basically what is CMS and technology detector option inside Ashok? That all the technology that is used for the target. For example, we can say that xyz.com. So what kind of technology that is used? Technology by meaning of technology. For example, there is used any Joomla server or any kind of Node.js and other kind of aspects of technology that is used to design that particular domain. So we can detect those technology and content management system. And one more thing, while using this option, you can also detect the headers. We already have the option HTTP header, but this option has some advanced feature that you can also detect all the HTTP headers with the CMS. Then third option, which is I think very much important right now, the githubrecon. So most of the time what happens that the developers do not try to hide. Most of the time they have their mail IDs leaking on some particular. They have for example, they have contributed in some open source projects. So we can easily extract those kinds of mail ID. How many mail ID we can receive? So with the help of Ashok, I have created a list. So you can easily extract all the information related to your GitHub user ID. It is not currently I'm working on it, but you can extract some core information like what kind of websites he has featured in his GitHub, and most important thing, the mail ID, because this is the one important thing that we as a security researcher we focus on this. So these are the three main features of the Ashok, the 1.1 version. So you can see these two examples. First one is about subdomain that I had discussed. So you can look up all the subdomains of target in an easy way, a very fast and quick way. So for example, we can see that github.com we have lookup. So this is the domain name. You need to just enter the subdomain option, and after that you need to enter the domain name. without the HTTPS, only the domain name. This is important thing. Then the second thing you can see that this is the CMS that I have discussed about content management system, that what kind of technology is used in your target. So in this section you just need to add the CMS option, and then after you can add the URL of your target, and it will detect all the technology, and it also detecting all the custom header you can see. So these are very cool features of the Ashok current version. Now that was the Python version of Ashok. So after the Python version, what is the main important thing that it has? It is also converted in the form of Docker. So what I did, I had created an image for the Ashok. The reason of creating the Docker image, because the DevSecOps is currently very popular around the security community, and the second aspect that Docker is very easy to use, because when you are using any Python tool, so you need to also install the prerequisite after cloning that GitHub repo. But what is the best thing about Docker image, that you just need to pull, you need to do this good Docker pull command, and it will just download that Docker image, and then while downloading, it will also download all the prerequisites. For example, the Ashok work on Python 3.7 version, so it will download that version also, and inbuilt inside it contains the whole package, and it will just automatically in a very fast way download. And after that, after the image got downloaded, you just need to create a container. So in Docker is kind of a virtualization container tool. Like let's say in virtualization we seen that kind of for example, we have a base OS, then we want to use the second OS. So that is the concept in virtualization. But in Docker you can just use this container to directly use that particular virtualization container. So here you after the downloading those images, you can directly create a container by using the Docker container run tag-it command. So tag-it is a terminal. You just after downloading, you will just directly jump on the terminal of that tool or that container. So then you when you enter this command, so it will just directly create that container for your environment. And similar thing it has, you just need to add after the Docker container run tag-it and the name of your then the name of your image, and then tag help. This option will generate all the options that Ashok have and what you want to use with this tool. So it is similarly that we discussed in a Python version of Ashok. So it also has the same options and same features. So yeah, this is the Docker version of Ashok. Now that was all about what is the Python tool Ashok and what is the Docker version of Ashok and how we can use that for recon thing. Now we have some reference link for all the users who want to use this. The first one is the GitHub repo. So you can just click on this repo and you will just go to that particular repo and you can download, clone and use that repo. But for the new user who don't know how to use, so I have also created a wiki. The second link you can see. So just clicking on that wiki, you will see all the option in a defined way, and you can use those options after learning that wiki. The third and fourth link is about that some of the people around the internet have written about the Ashok. So if you want to get the whole idea how much good it is, so you can go through these two articles and you can see that all the major information about Ashok. Then the last link, it is the Docker Hub link, which I have already discussed. It is the link for the Docker image. So you can just directly jump on the Docker image and download from there, or use the Docker pull command. So these are some reference links that you can use. if you want to collaborate with me with Ashok, so you can directly contact me with this Twitter account and LinkedIn, and you can see also my blog post in the Medium. And if you want to have a good discussion, you can just directly ping me on my email that is shown in this slide. That was all about the Docker. Now talking about, we have discussed the discussion is about the Ashok, how we can use it for OSINT, how we can use it for our OSINT research and recon. Now let's jump on the demo, that how we can use Ashok in a simple way. So to just see demo, so for example, I want to check all the subdomains of github.com, which is my target. So you just need to enter this Python 3. What kind of version you have. Majorly the Ashok works on Python 3.7 and above that version. I have the Python 3.8, so that's why. And then the option tag subdomain and the name of your target domain. After entering, you will see that it will, yeah, you can see that in a fastest way you can generate all the subdomains that GitHub has. Now the second option we also discussed, it was about CMS, which is very interesting thing for us as a security researcher. Is very much interesting. Let's say we have this this is the website. It is about the blog post. We generally wrote the blog post in this. This is similar to Medium. So we want to detect all the CMS or technology used there, and we want also see to all the headers, all the HTTP headers. Yeah, so yeah, as you can see, in a simpler and fastest way you can generate all those, you can gather all those information related to the technology or the headers or HTTP headers. Then the other option we have, it is we have discussed about, is about githubrecon. So yeah, so we can use that for, let's say I'm entering this so what is this? Yeah, so you just need to enter the username of your target with this username option. So I have entered my own username, GitHub username. So you can see the tons of information, the name of your target, location, and if he has any website, and how many repo he has. But the more important thing, that these mail IDs. Some of them are GitHub, but we can see that this is the official mail ID of a target. So these are some cool things that you can play around with Ashok. Yeah, so that was all about the Ashok.
Thank you, Ankit, for the presentation and your demo of Ashok. Before we end off the session, I do have two questions for you. What inspired you to create Ashok in the first place?
Yeah, so it is a very nice question. So when I was working on Python in mid 2020s, then I found this person. His name is Somdev Sangwan. So I inspired by him that how he is using his programming knowledge to create some cool things around the security. And then the things comes around the OSINT, and I started learning about OSINT. So it is basically started with a very core concept of Python, that how I can automate things, and then I came across the OSINT. So the major was I got inspired by him, and then I started working on the Python and created this tool.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, because you are inspired by someone before you created the tool. That's very good. My second question to you, we hear that you have Python versions and Docker versions. Is there any aspect in the tools you would like the community to contribute in?
Yeah, so currently in the latest version, what I am trying to do, it is an OSINT and Recon based tool, but in this latest version, what I am trying to do, that I am learning the web application security concepts. So I want to add those features inside this. We have the OWASP top 10 security tools around the internet, but I want to add some of the security issues to some of the security vulnerabilities we have in this current scenario, like the OAuth authentication and other aspects we have, other kinds of vulnerabilities. So I want community to contribute with me to create Docker, to create Ashok in a more good way, and we can create a combined tool for OSINT, Recon, and web application security. So it will be very great for all the community.
It is quite a big thing that you are going to move forward and asking the community to move forward too. I think that we do hope that through this presentation, this video, or this program, the community can respond to you, to work on your open source tool project. I want to thank you for your time, taking your time off to do this presentation and the demo with the toolbox.
Thank you so much, Pentester Academy and Damien.
Thank you, Ankit, once again for coming on board to this episode of the Toolbox. For more information on this tool, see our description below. Subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for the next episode of the Toolbox.